A child does best, on average, when raised by biological married parents.
I will fight for Australia's rights, our freedoms, our way of life.
I'm an anti-feminist because I think it's oppressive, I think it's anti-male, I think it's anti-femininity.
Now, it may be a very weak Brexit, but I tell you what, Brexit of any kind and leaving those treaties as well.
That's the best ever interview. Well, Michael Parkinson, you got nothing on this bloke.
Well, welcome to another episode of Pellowe Talk. I'm Dave Pellowe. Today I'm sitting down with Dr. Christian Rowan, a Member of Parliament in the Queensland Parliament, and I want to take this opportunity right at the beginning to thank the Pellowe Talk Partners, those generous, regular viewers who contribute at least $5 a month just to bring episodes like this to you. I hope you find it informative, and if it is, then I'd appreciate it if you'd consider being a partner as well. You can do that at our website, pellowtalk.com, and just click on the links to donate. You can also make sure you're subscribing to the emails, because you never know when my last day will be on Facebook or YouTube. Dr. Christian Rowan, thank you very much for the opportunity to sit down and chat with you.
Well, thanks very much, Dave, to join you on Pellowe Talk. I'm looking forward to it.
Now, one of the things I like about a politician, when I like a politician, is somebody who's willing to call a spade a spade. I think it's what people gravitate to in Donald Trump, even if they don't like what he says and don't find him, nice in perhaps some other roles that he has in his life. It's refreshing just to hear somebody say what they think. Now, you enjoy a very safe seat here in Moggill. Does that give you the opportunity to speak your mind a little bit more frankly?
Well, I think certainly there's no such thing as a safe seat these days, and people need to understand that they need to work very hard within their communities. But particularly what people are crying out for, ordinary people, is that they have values-based politicians and conviction politicians who stand for something, and when the going gets tough, they follow through on what they say that they're going to do, but also that they articulate a clear vision and a set of values, and that's what they're elected upon when they go to the electorate. And that's what I've tried to do since I was elected in 2015 and re-elected in 2017. And I believe that's maintaining faith with those people in your party who pre-select you, and then when you go to the ballot box in the broader community, that when people vote for you, they understand exactly what they're going to get. And so that's what I've tried to do. I'll continue to do that, and it's great to have had the support of the people of Moggill so far in doing that. It
actually, I guess, brings to my mind the Victorian election and the commentary that is available out there, various parts of the Liberal Party commenting on itself, and there seems to be a whole bunch of people who would be labelled moderates by the mainstream media, who are describing the loss in Victoria a confirmation that being more conservative isn't what the grassroots of any electorate are looking for. They say there's been a bit of conservative renewal in the Liberal Party in Victoria, and it did them no good in the election. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, I think people on the ground particularly are wanting to ensure that they have a job, they've got access to employment to be able to pay for all the things that they need to pay for in life. They're very concerned about cost of living pressures. They want to make sure that their children get a good and sound education, they have access to health services, and that sensible and sound public policy is implemented. So there's no doubt there are challenges within the conservative side of politics, and people have been offering various views as to why things are potentially difficult on that side of things. But when I'm talking to people on the ground, what they're crying out for is people who stand for something and who follow through. They certainly don't like division or people having internal arguments. They want credible plans put forward which are going to assist them with their lives, knowing that government can't provide everything. I mean, government is there to augment and enable businesses to have the right framework so that businesses can flourish, that services are provided in a timely way.
Yep.
And that's not just in capital city areas, but remembering what's needed in rural and regional Queensland. And Queensland itself and Australia itself is a very rich country when it comes to resources. We've had a very vibrant mining and resources sector, an agricultural sector. We have tourism opportunities, and there are many people who work in knowledge and science and information technology sectors as well who can contribute to our states, our state jurisdictions and our nation. So again, when I'm talking to people, they want government that's meaningful to them, that's not hindering them but is assisting them, and that there is sensible policy that's implemented. Now, an example of policy which is not sensible is things like the Safe Schools program, as an example. So when I talk to parents, they sort of say to me, how is it possible that we can have social engineering coming within our schools? Or
that's interesting. How many people talk to you about that? Because it would seem, based on the Victorian election results, that either nobody knows what's in the Safe School programs enough to be concerned about it, or they know and dismiss it as something that they approve of.
Well, I think that there are a lot of people who still don't know what's actually being taught within those programs. But you can't see that in isolation in relation to the other things that they're looking for as well. And what they are looking for is good and stable economic opportunities, and job opportunities, so that they can provide for all the things that they want to provide for their families, but their children have access to employment. They want good health and education services. And so they're looking for cost of living relief and other things like that as well. So they're not sort of seeing some of these social issues in and of themselves. They're seeing them in the context of other things that they're looking for as well. Yeah.
Now, you spoke about people's concern about division. The news out this morning is that the federal Liberal Party has decided it will take 2/3 of the party room now to bring on a spill for the leadership. I don't think that's anywhere near enough. I think it's a band-aid on a broken leg. As a doctor, you'd know that's not going to be much help. So I find no problems at all, but huge attraction with Professor David Flint's suggestion that in reforming our political parties, we actually take the party leadership of the Liberal Party, and for that matter, why not the Labor Party and every other party as well, and say, look, if you want public funding, then you have to have your leaders, among other reforms that are needed in the political parties, your leaders should be elected by the party members, not by the party room. Now, whether that's at a federal national conference or or the sum of the state conferences, which might help more people to come and have a say, for the party members to be able to directly elect the parliamentary party leader, and for the party room to then have literally no more say than any other party member about that, takes a little bit or a lot more of that elitism and that horse trading for positions in the government out of who the party leader will be. It reduces our sovereign risk. It makes it nearly impossible to change a sitting Prime Minister leadership. What are your thoughts on that, even off the top of your head, if you've never heard that suggestion before?
Well, the public's trust in our parliamentary institutions and political parties generally is at an all-time low. And really, at the federal level, since 2007, we had the Gillard-Rudd years, and then we had Tony Abbott and Malcolm Turnbull, and now we have Scott Morrison. I think both of the major political parties, through that flux that's happened in relation to the leadership, has led to an undermining of trust by the Australian public in our parliamentary institutions. It hasn't assisted in any way. And so therefore, having stability when people elect a Prime Minister and a government, what they expect is that the person will govern for that period of time and that there's not going to be a different outcome after the election. So I think major political parties need to understand that when they embark on this journey, that certainly leads to issues as far as public trust is concerned, and we need to restore people's faith in our parliamentary institutions and in our political parties and in public discourse as well. So there'll be different models, and obviously the federal Liberal Party's made a decision in
What do you think the pros and cons are of a party leader elected by the party members?
Well, look, I mean, that's a very democratic process around that, but obviously that would undermine the parliamentary wing of the party, and traditionally that's been the process whereby a leader is elected. It's a matter for individual parties if they decide to look at different models around that. But what we need to ensure is that government is in the interests of the people, it serves the interests of the people, the political parties serve the interests of the people, and our democratic institutions serve the interests of the people. That's what our state is supposed to be about, that's what our country is supposed to be about.
Yeah.
And that's why we're sort of seeing the challenges that we are these days, that many people have lost faith in that. We need to rebuild our structures and people having faith in their democratic institutions and their governments, that they're there to serve the people.